We meet again at Silverstone for one of the great Formula One races of the entire calendar. With a barely believable capacity crowd creating a phenomenal atmosphere, it is time for a race that puts a smile on your face. It is time for the British Grand Prix. Silverstone Circuit is comprised of 18 corners, 3.6 miles, with DRS detection zones at Village and Maggots. Your overtaking opportunities at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights. You've got to be brave on the throttle in order to succeed here. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. An immense lap from Aiden Jackson yesterday, and it puts him on pole. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid we have Norris, Mayer, George Russell and Behrman, Gasly, Stroll, Doohan and Alex Albon, Hadjar, Alonso, Gabriel Bortoleto and Hulkenberg, Antonelli, Ocon, Carlos Sainz and Zane Maloney, Aaron, Lawson, Colapinto and Pepe Marti completes the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me is Anthony Davidson. I love this moment in the weekend. Put us in their shoes right now. What are they feeling on the grid?
You've got to know, you've got to have a pre-race game plan. You've watched videos before you get into the car of previous races gone by. You know where you have to place your car if X, Y, or Z happens in front of you or behind you. So having this clear game plan is absolutely essential before you get in the car.
Here we go then. The formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out. So as all the cars reform the grid, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring their planned strategies are all in place.
All right, there we have it. George Russell pulling up to the grid slot, front row. Actually, no, I think that's Aiden Jackson. My bad. It's Aiden Jackson on the front row, George Russell farther back. We see the Ferrari and the Red Bull pulling up behind. I forgot that I got bumped up to pole position here as we're on the start-finish straight to turn one, Appy turn one. Russell back in P5 as 5 red lights are on here in Silverstone. 5 red lights are off. Looks like Pepe Marti's trying to make a move as well as Colapinto in the back end. As Leclerc holding on the inside, he's going to have the momentum into turn one. And he's going to be able to hold on to it through turn 2 and 3. We go wide, stay ahead of Leclerc. That is Norris and Mayer side by side, followed by Russell and Behrman side by side, coming out of turn 5 to the Brooklyn Straight. Everybody's starting a single file already. I think that was the Alpine of Doohan and Alonso side by side. No, I was not Stroll. Yeah, Alonso and Doohan side by side, coming into turn 6, coming through the field, going to the fast part of this race here in sector 2. Woodcote, I think it's called, to the back straight. I'm not sure what the straight is called. We go into Cops, fast right-hander. You can easily go out of bounds on that turn as we're going through the grid. Maloney, P19, Lawson, Marty, and Paul Aaron as we're going through Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel down the Hangar Straight. Leclerc trying to make a move on the outside, and yes, he does. We're on board with Lando Norris trying to make a move on the inside of Jackson. No effort, not really effort, but no avail there. Jackson covers him off. Jackson and Leclerc in the front of the grid on soft tires. A lot of people going soft tires, a lot of people going mediums. So we're more than likely going to be seeing more one-stop strategies today. Going through the grid yet again. Behrman P6 ahead of Lance Stroll. Gaps are starting to form between Behrman and Russell. The top 5 is starting to pull away. And then another gap forming between Doohan and Hadjar from P11, P12, as they're going to be separating from the front of the pack. The back of the grid going through turn 5. The rest of the grid making their way through turn 7. Leclerc holding on to the lead, 3/10 ahead of Jackson. Jackson already losing 1 position. We adjusted our setup accordingly. So a lot of these setups that we've been using have been the same setups that we used in the first season. We just dropped the wings according to upgrades and difficulty to help with the straight line speed, try to combat the straight line speed from these AI drivers, as we see Lando Norris trying to close in on Lando Norris trying to close in on Jackson. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen, and when I looked at the timetable, we have Jackson trying to hold on the inside of turn 15. You see a little bit of you hear a little bit of tire spin, and here's Russell coming out of nowhere, making a move on Norris up into P3. I think he was behind Callie Mayer. I'm not sure if he passed her on the hanger straight, but that is both Konnersports provisionally on the podium. As we see Russell go wide, Norris having the momentum to make a move into turn 1. And the gap between Mayer and Stroll from P5 to P6 is increasing. So we see that gap from the top 5, and then again, still P11, P12 is where the other gap is forming. As we move along, lap 3, Jackson ahead of Russell. Russell making a move there on the left of the hanger straight through DRS. Norris not close enough to make a move, but that's not much we're going to be able to do as teammates. Russell has the stronger tires. We're going to be coming in pretty soon on these soft tires. It's just a matter of who goes in first. But this is our best bet to stay on the podium. Russell chasing down Leclerc through the final turn. So going through the grid yet again. Jackson still leading Lando Norris through turn 1 and 2. Moving on to the end of lap 4. Russell trying to make a move on Leclerc, this time on the right side through the DRS section of the hanger straight. That's Russell P1, Leclerc P2, Jackson P3, Mayer's P4 ahead of Norris. So Norris dropped back as well. Behrman is up to P6, about 2.3 seconds between them. So we see a lot of other position changes. Lap 6 now, Jackson ahead of Mayer. Mayer looking to make a move here on the right side with DRS, and that's going to be a double overtake on Jackson. So Jackson's going to be losing 2 positions as we're starting to feel the tire life of these soft tires go away. If you guys remember, this was the first time we tested this tire compound mod. Was last season in Silverstone, and we had a very horrible performance with Callie Mayer, but this time it's going to be Aiden Jackson. Hopefully we're going to be able to hold on long enough to not drop outside of the points, because as of Silverstone, Aiden Jackson is the only person to have finished in the top 10 without DNFing or finishing outside. So we see Maloney in the Haas coming in first, with the Audi of Hulkenberg and Lawson in the Ford Racing Bull following behind for our first set of pit stops, the end of lap 7. Russell leading Leclerc by 5 seconds. Some tire issues for Lawson, so no advantage there. Hulkenberg got caught behind him in traffic. He probably had an issue as well. 3 drivers down for our first pit stop. Russell coming through Maggots and Beckett's already. And Leclerc's probably coming through Cops at this point, or Maggots. Can't really see him in the background there. But yeah, Russell leading 5 seconds pretty much. Coming into still, as we saw Leclerc coming through. No pit stop yet for Russell. He's going to be most likely doing a 1 stop on those medium tires. We have Leclerc on those soft tires coming in. See if Callie Mayer makes a pit stop as well. We see position changes between Antonelli, Bortoletto, Colapinto, Ocon. Still on board with Leclerc. See who comes in behind. It's going to be the Aston Martin crew coming in. I believe that's going to be Stroll coming in. Graphical issues in this pit lane for Silverstone. I don't know what's going on here. But we see Jackson coming in off the soft tires. Gulf Williams are going to be coming in as well. Albon in, Stroll in. Another another team with an issue, the right rear tire for Jackson. That's not really going to help us, but it's not going to give us an advantage, give any other teams advantages either, as we have a lot of people coming in actually for a two-stop race. A lot of people going on a medium tires as we see Maloney coming through turn 18. So Jackson's outside of the points right now. 7.1 seconds between him and Leclerc, 7.2, and increasing. Going through the grid, we have Russell coming down the hanger straight. 7.5 seconds between him and Kelly Mayer because Leclerc took that early pit stop. So it looks like Russell, Mayer, Norris, Behrman might all be on one stops for today. So we see Norris trying to close in on Kelly Mayer. He is closing in a tiny bit. 1.2 seconds is the gap. So we see Alonso coming in for his stop. So both Aston Martins going with a two-stop strategy for today's race. We have Hadjar coming in behind him. And then I believe that is... Who was that behind him? Colapinto, Hadjar, Bortoletto? I think it was Bortoletto coming in behind him. A lot of people having issues at this point of the season. We see Stroll P15 coming through the final sector. So we see all the rest of the cars coming through that have already taken their pit stops. Jackson moving up to P11. So we go through the rest of the grid. 7.98 seconds now between Russell and Kelly Mayer. And he's still going. Lap 11, 9.4 seconds is the gap. So we're on board with Jackson to see who is in the pits. That's going to be Colapinto in the pits onto a new set of hard tires. So I think Colapinto might be going for a one stop. That's going to be very early on those hard tires to see if he can last to the end of this race. Jackson now back in the points. Marty and Maloney, Pepe Marty and Zane Maloney side by side coming through turn 18, 17, 18. It's going to be Marty ahead as they're going through the grid. Alonso, apparently between now and his pit stop, had a tire puncture. So he ended up coming in again. I forgot to include it, so I apologize. So Alonso's race is practically over unless there's a red flag or something like that. A lap 11 of 26 already. We hear tires or cars coming into the pit lane, and it's George Russell coming in for his one stop ahead of Callie Mayer. We'll see if she comes in by the pit crew, the Mercedes team coming out. So Mayer is coming in behind Russell. It's going to be a medium tire to a hard tire change. Very quick and easy change for Russell. Behrman out on the field still, or out on the track still. So we see Pierre Gasly coming in. Issue taking off the tire there in the front left. Putting on that hard tire now. Hopefully McLaren can stay in the points. They've been doing pretty rough so far. Sitting 7th in the standings ahead of Haas with only 2 points, and behind Aston Martin, who is at 92 points. So we're going through the rest of the grid, see who is coming in, see who's staying out as we are in the one-stop window. And we should be done with the two-stop strategy, the first stop for the two-stop strategy. So we're on board with Pierre Gasly. Going through the rest of the grid. See Hulkenberg coming through, Alonso coming through turn 16, and Behrman is already coming through Maggots and Beggots. So that's going to be about over half of the track covered by the leaders. So we're more than likely going to have lapped drivers today. Behrman coming down the hanger straight after turn 14. You can see Antonelli and Leclerc fighting it out as we're basically in a standstill until the next pit stops. As we see Jackson trying to close in on Mayer and Norris. And with these battles going on, we're going to go ahead and leave it to our commentators.
There's been plenty of action this weekend here in Silverstone, and to my surprise, there won't be any tyre testing following the race weekend.
That's right.
The FIA has ruled that the grid will not be permitted to conduct any testing until the off-season, allowing only one session at their own facilities in addition to the designated preseason sessions in Australia at the start of next year's season.
The only thing to worry about is that the new teams joining the grid next season, and we don't know if they will all have their own facilities. We have Naomi Schiff back in the commentary box to give us some more information on that.
Thank you, Crofty. The FIA has already addressed this detail with the teams joining next year, with only 2 more teams yet to be confirmed. They have stated that if any of the new teams lack suitable testing tracks at their facilities, they will be granted private testing sessions in Abu Dhabi, Silverstone, and Australia, where the next season will begin. However, there is no further confirmation on next season's schedule at this time.
There was something about media travels in the off-season. Are you able to share anything about that?
Yes, a handful of us from the Sky Sports team will be travelling to team facilities to not only discuss about the team's goals for the upcoming season, but to also reveal the car liveries and driver lineups before the season begins.
That pep talk has me hyped for next season, and we're only halfway through this one. At this rate, we might as well just hand the championship trophy to Konnersport now and save everyone the suspense.
You have to give credit to Konnersport for the immense effort they've put into their car and team. They've truly worked hard to reach their current position, with George Russell leading Aiden Jackson by 14 points in the Drivers' Championship. Meanwhile, Konnersport holds an impressive 76-point advantage over Gulf Williams following the results from the last race in Austria, and there's only so much other teams can do at this point in the season.
Speaking of other teams, we haven't checked in with some of the ones that are still in the fight for constructors. James Vowles on the radio from the Williams pit box. How's the race from there, James?
You know, it isn't too bad. The team hasn't had any standalone performances since the beginning of the season, but we are still very much present in this championship fight.
Is there any work being done for upgrades or breakthroughs that the team might try for in order to close the gap to Konnersport before the end of the season?
Yes, we have team members back at the factory working on developing parts that will help favour our car in the late season races, so we very much hope that we can close that gap, and I'm sure other teams will be able to do the same.
How do your drivers feel at this point in the season? We have Hadjar leading Albon by 14 points with Callie Mayer in the mix.
Both of our drivers feel comfortable with their positions, and they're constantly fighting it out with other drivers that are around them in the championship, so there's that little bit of relaxation in knowing you're still in the fight, especially with the team still managing points to help with constructors.
The constructors' fight between Gulf Williams and Mercedes will probably continue throughout the season, as we see both Mercedes drivers sitting in the points currently, as we make our way down the pit lane to Ted Kravitz and Toto Wolff.
Thank you, Crofty, and thank you, Toto, for letting me squeeze in here. I just wanted to ask a few questions about the championship, pretty much piggybacking off of the conversation with James Vowles. How is the team sitting right now, knowing the constructor and driver standings for your team?
Well, for constructors, the team is doing everything they can to close the gap on Konnersport. Yes, we're in the fight against Gulf Williams, but that's not the team's primary focus. But as for our drivers, we've talked with them, and they feel like they're both in a good spot, as we have them currently both in the top 10.
Is there any worry about how Konnersport has been able to push themselves to the top of the standings within the last few races?
They are a great team. They've been in the sport for a few years now, and they finally figured out how to get the car to the front of the grid. It's just a matter on if what they've done is within FIA regulations, and we are in communication with the FIA about the matter. If everything does come out to be within the rules, then props to them, because they have a great financial backing with Butler Global.
We wanted to thank you for your time, Toto, and we thank you for the feedback at such a crucial moment of the season. Racing right here at the birthplace of Formula One, as we have George Russell leading Lando Norris with less than 7 laps to go. Konnersport leading this championship into the second half of the season, and so much more still to come as we get back to the action.
All right, lap 19 now. On board with Alonso. He's made up 2 positions. He's going to be behind George Russell. So Fernando Alonso has officially been lapped at this point of the race. He's going to have DRS to try to stay ahead of Lawson. As we see him now ahead. 13.2 seconds is the gap between him and Norris. running that one stop. Mayer, Leclerc, Antonelli. Mercedes running pretty good with their strategy right now. Behrman, P6, Gasly and Sainz, both McLarens in the top 10, which is a good sign for them to score some points to try to close the gap on Aston Martin. As we see Colapinto and Doohan in the top 10. So both Alpines currently in the top 10. About 6 or 7 laps to go as we try to work our way around Jack Doohan. Going to be coming out of Chappelle into the... No, Maggots, Beckett's and Chappelle, sorry. There's turn 14 into the hangar straight. So we're going to have an easy overtake on Jack Doohan. We see the Gulf Williams of Lance. No, that's going to be Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. Hadjar is what I'm talking about. Make a move on the inside of Doohan through turn 15. And now we have to track down Colapinto before the end of the race. He's about 1.7 seconds ahead. And we're starting to just barely feel the tire life of these medium tires go away. Since we did run 2 softs. Lap 22 now as we're trying to close in on Colapinto. We're coming through sector 2. Coming out of the field in Woodcote. I really think that's how you say it. Coming up to Cops, seeing if we can make a move here. We have Hadjar making a move on the outside of this back straight into Cops. We lose a little bit of momentum, but that is fine. So Hadjar is just flying into the points there. His teammate Albon is back in P14. And we're basically just taking it easy right now as we're trying to see what other mistakes can be made to try to get back into the points, because like I said, Jackson is the only driver so far to not finish outside of the points yet this season. I would hate to have this happen here in Silverstone. We brake late on Hadjar to try to make up some ground, make a move. The back end steps out. You can see the overcast weather. We had overcast weather on the arrival pretty much at this time of the race, but lap 23 coming through the hangar straight. We see Colapinto and Hadjar fighting it out side by side. Hadjar losing that position. We're going to be able to make a move as much as we can. We're going to go ahead and brake late on Colapinto again, this time on the inside. We don't want to push and shove. There's a little bit of contact there coming into turn 17, but that's not going to be enough for a penalty. Maybe just a slap on the wrist later on with some fines, but Jackson ahead of Colapinto and back inside the points. Lap 25-26, Oliver Behrman crossing the start-finish line with 2 laps to go, and his engine just gives out. No smoke, so that must mean that it is a mechanical issue for Oliver Behrman. He's not doing too great. He's currently 13th with only 11 points on the season. So Behrman's going to be having another DNF on the season. He's going to be finishing here in Sector 1 on the inside of Turn 3. So Jackson is now up into P9, and that's Colapinto up into P10. Colapinto, he already has 1 point for Alpine from last time around, where Aston Martin's Alonso got DNF'd. I'm not sure what was happening there. But the final lap, we see George Russell lapping yet another car. They get out of the way. She's going to be winning here in Silverstone. And that's going to be 3 races in a row. If you guys remember, we won as George Russell as we leapfrogged with Aiden Jackson at the end of Austria. As we go through, the next driver up is going to be the Red Bull of Lando Norris. Coming through turn 16, 17, and 18 for the second spot on the podium. And I believe it's going to be the Mercedes of Cali Mayer is third, yeah. All right. And then like I was saying about Alonso's DNF, I wanted to go back just towards the end of the race here as we're on board with Jackson. You see we're P9, Colapinto's P10, Stroll P11. So we're coming through. The race is already practically finished for our other drivers. We have Hadjar there ahead of us. And what I wanted you guys to pay attention to, I've had this issue twice now. As Jackson crosses the finish line, we see Hadjar crossing the line, and Jackson, and then Colapinto automatically getting DNF'd. That's 2 in a row. If you guys know what the bug is, please let me know in the comments.
A drive from the talented George Russell, who takes the checkered flag.
And they're just starting to make it look easy out there. Now a hat-trick of wins. They're out there ahead. They've got the momentum on their side. And it's for the others now to try and up their game to stop that energy that they have.
Now it is time to start the celebrations as we welcome our top three. And celebrating with the trophy, George Russell on the top step. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
All right, there we have it. A very eventful British Grand Prix with an all-British podium of George Russell, Lando Norris, and Callie Mayer. If you guys remember last season, we were driving as Callie Mayer with the front and rear wing issues. We had that a little bit here today, but it wasn't as bad, but it's still bad enough to pull us back to P9 off of a two-stop. And yeah, Andrea Kimi coming up from 15th place to the top 5. Charles Leclerc holding on to the fastest lap at a 129.4. And yeah, so George Russell leading Lando Norris, Callie Mayer for that podium. We're gonna go ahead and jump into our standings. That really hurts. George Russell holding on to the lead against Lando Norris by 35 points. Charles Leclerc right there behind Lando Norris, so it is a two-way battle for P2 as they're still in the fight to stay with George Russell. As Aiden Jackson falls down the order, only getting 2 points that race, sitting at 102 now for 4th place, facing off, well, defending against Callie Mayer pretty much for that P4 spot. As Callie Mayer fights off Isaac Hadjar, who I believe finished in the points as well. We'll go back to the top 10 there in a moment. As Fernando Alonso P7, Andrea Kimi Antonelli P8 for 69 points, Alex Albon at 62. What I did want to look at was Franco Colapinto scoring a point, and Jack Doohan not scoring a point. So I could have swore he finished in the top 10. I could be wrong. We're gonna go ahead and double check. Yeah, Jack Doohan, P11. It was okay. I don't know what happened here. I'll be DNF'd. Oliver Behrman DNF'd. Franco Colapinto DNF'd. Let's look at the race director here. No, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at the replay. Don't know what happened with Colapinto, because I could have swore he finished in the top 10. I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't know what happened here, because I know we finished in P9. We didn't have any safety cars or red flags, so I don't know what happened with that DNF. But at this point of the video, you guys probably know, I probably told you, or I probably forgot. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next one.